Hey there, welcome to a new album review today, and today I actually have an EP again, where it's from the Chemical Brothers, a band that I've already touched on here ages ago. Actually, I haven't heard them in a while. I reviewed their album We Are the Night, and today I actually have an EP from them called Loops of Fury, which is one of their first released EPs, I think, if it's not their debut EP. That came out in 1996. So, pretty long ago. Now, the Chemical Brothers were sort of this electronic band that had sort of these, at least from what I remember from the album and the songs that I do remember, it was very electronic. It was very like a Kraftwerk type electronic sound. It definitely had a lot of inspiration, especially on more, I guess, atmospheric, if you will, and a lot of focus on specifically more aggressive and distorted sounds. And ironically, this EP doesn't at all. Like, the reason that's why it's called Loops of Fury is because this EP is mostly like breakbeat and big beat, basically. Which I was starting to listening to it, and I was like, wait, okay, this is not very thing. And then I heard, because Loops of Fury, the self-titled song, is by far the most different in the album, which is big beat. The other three songs are breakbeat, basically. And I was very, I don't know, I was very interesting, because I was like, I mean, look, it goes hard, don't get me wrong, actually goes hard. The album goes incredibly hard, so much so that one of the songs is actually used in a video game soundtrack, which I was sitting there and I was like, oh yeah, this kind of sounds like it would fit a game, especially like a 90s, early 2000s game. And yeah, that's because a lot of video game soundtracks back then used to rely a lot on, jungle and drum and bass and, breakbeat, for example. And, these more, perhaps back then not as developed electronic styles, as they were, I guess, cheaper, and games weren't taken as seriously, and a lot of games had this more futuristic vision, and, a lot of them were also set in sort of these sci-fi settings. So it's understandable as to why this genre was so big then. And yeah, basically I was listening to the songs and I was like, yeah, it kind of sounds like video game soundtracks, actually, which not bad, it's actually positive. But yeah, even the first song, I think the Loops of Fury was the song that was actually featured in some video game. But yes, the first song is the only one that is more different, I guess. The other two are very breakbeat, and that's sort of the focus, is the beat, and that's pretty much it. The first song, to me, sounded a bit weird, because while you do have components of breakbeat, you also have weirdish sounds to it. Basically, I think the first song is the song that sort of later became the Chemical Brothers sort of signature sound. When I listened to We Are the Night, I didn't really hear any breakbeat songs, but I definitely did hear a lot of songs having sort of this spice and having sort of this there's actually a name for it. I don't remember. I was researching this a couple of weeks ago. There's actually a name for genres that have sort of this atmospheric approach, but also have these breakbeat slash jungle slash drum and bass going on. I don't remember what it is, but basically, that background that more background sound and whatnot is what really they carried away from this, which, I mean, it's also the most interesting to me, and the first song sort of does embody that a lot. It's sort of the mix of breakbeat, I mean, it's big beat, basically, it's not breakbeat, and yeah, I mean, the difference is exactly that. It has a much bigger focus on, I mean, not a bigger focus, the focus is still on the beats, but it also has focus on how the beats sound, rather than just them sounding kind of regular, to the point where I was listening to the first song, and at certain parts I was reminding me of the hardcore and Frenchcore kicks, especially, mostly the percussion of those subgenres, but mostly kicks, right? That distorted, especially Frenchcore, so that very, very distorted kick, very, it's not distorted like art style, it's distorted it's much more it's cleaner in a way. The distortion is cleaner. It's very weird, I don't know, but I was actually going through the song and I was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of what a lot of the, especially Frenchcore nowadays kind of sounds like, or at least it did 2000s, 2010s, early 2010s, which is when I kind of started hearing Frenchcore and hardcore. Yes, I was actually pretty interested because I was like, like this is 96 we're talking about, so it's pretty early. So I was like, that's actually very interesting. It's a very like interesting song, and look again, like the beats actually go super fucking hard. If you like good like drum and bass and stuff like that, and if you like specifically the beat parts of drum and bass, I would say this is actually right up your alley. I mean, I guess breakbeat and drum and bass are not like very far from one another. Same with jungle. Like a lot of these subgenres are very hard to like explain because a lot of them sort of tend to be fused together and tend to sort of like take a lot of inspiration from each other. Like for example, jungle did come before drum and bass, but like it's sort of because of what jungle is and what drum and bass is and how many subgenres drum and bass has, jungle is kind of a subgenre of drum and bass, even though it came earlier and drum and bass takes inspirations from jungle. It's very weird. Like when it comes to electronic genres, it's very fucking weird to like go through them. And look, personally, I don't care that much about like being very specific when it comes to genres. To me, as long as there's like a general genre that you can find, music from that genre, I'm fine with it. I don't like specifically care too much about genres, but sometimes they can be like very useful to find very like specific types of song, because sometimes you just have a very weird mixes and you have no like name for it. But at the same time, like nowadays you just have so many like weird super niche genres that you sort of sit there and you ask yourself like, I mean, this is just this genre but with this little thing changed. So it's like, yeah, but anyway, that aside, that's pretty much what I was feeling when I was hearing the first song. And yeah, I mean, again, like this is a super small EP, it's only 20 minutes. The other 3 songs are, again, like I don't have much to say because they are just breakbeat, that's it, it's very good breakbeat, but they're just that. And the first song, it's kind of the same, but it sort of has different sounds, and different sounds on the beat, like the beat specifically has different sounds, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, I think. I was actually I was very surprised because, again, like when I heard their other album, they had far more depthness when it came to the type of sounds, and especially on what they focused on, because on their other album, We Are the Night, they did not focus as much on the beats, they focused much more on the sounds that were going on. So I was actually like very interested to come here and then just see that this was not at all like that, but it was still incredibly good, right? Like it's very interesting for them to go from this to essentially that. I mean, it's not like a very big transition, I would say. It's not as far-fetched as perhaps it may seem, but it's still definitely like very interesting to see how you go from one subgenre to almost the other. Although a lot of electronic artists or EDM artists tend to have like a lot of interest in a lot of genres, essentially, and that's why like electronic is so hard to actually define in terms of subgenres, because artists just sort of have interest in different genres, and then because it's all electronic, they mix them all up, and then it just becomes an absolute shit show. I hate fucking labels, and I hate labeling, and that's exactly why you should not put me in charge of telling you which genres are which, or which like albums are from which genres, which is exactly why I always research the fucking genres of these albums, and then I try to like, just to give them a bit more general genres for people to try and understand which sounds the albums have, because I'm sure that not everyone is gonna like hear this, fucking every single day. I doubt that people are gonna accompany all of my reviews and listen to them with me type thing. But yeah, overall, the EP was actually very fucking solid, as far as breakbeats go. Again, like, pretty fucking solid. It's very groovy. Like the speed is just right as well, like the tempo is just right, and it sounds weirdly clean. I don't know, like it is like, it doesn't sound as low quality as usually albums from the 90s do. Like with older music, you sort of have stuff that doesn't sound like it feels like it's rough around the edges, you know what I mean? Like when you listen to the sound, there's like a little bit of a it's not as accurate. The sound is not as accurate, you know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of like that sort of, I like to call it silence noise. It's not white noise that I mean, but it's like, it's sort of like when you are sort of in a bigger room and you're talking with someone, like you sort of hear that the sound is different, you know, and as a result it sounds a bit more fuzzy, right? Yeah, fuzzy, but it's like fuzzy only around the edges type thing. So it's kind of like weird, but the thing is, some albums have that quite prominently, others kind of don't, right? And I think that a lot of electronic music really doesn't, because I think a lot of electronic music just, well, because it's electronic, you don't have to deal as much with the recording, because you can record directly to, you know, a lot of either software or a lot of the hardware that you had at the time. It wasn't as hard, I guess, to put microphones up to a fucking guitar or whatever and try to make it sound good, right? So I guess that's why it sounds so good. But again, I'm always impressed with EDM artists that you sort of get here, and even when they sound like a bit more on the weird side, like Daft Punk Homework, for example, right? I listen to Homework and it's like, yeah, definitely like the quality of the sound sounds a bit like weird for the modern audience, but it's like that weird, it just works. It's not like low quality, it just weird, but it works, right? It's sort of like in terms of quality when it comes to a lot of these 90s albums, especially EDM, it's a bit like weird how they're not as clean as modern day for sure, but they're also not like low quality. It's very interesting, you know. Yeah, but with that being said, I would definitely recommend this EP. I think that I mean, I can understand why Chemical Brothers had such a good start, I guess, to their career, or at least I assume they did, because, you know, it's kind of hard to become big and have a lot of support in your career, in your music career, especially when your first few EPs and albums kind of suck, right? So yeah, and I mean, this was really great, and the fact that it was in a video game definitely helped a lot of its popularity. And I mean, I think it's just a testament of how good a lot of these early EDM songs actually are from a lot of artists, right? Because people still remember them from video games and still remember them from, you know, enjoying them a lot in childhood and whatnot, especially when you didn't even understand what like genres or what music was, and you're just like fucking vibing to it, basically. In terms of my vibe meter, I think I'm gonna give this honestly, I'm vibing with an 8 out of 10. It's a very solid 8 out of 10, honestly. I think that's fair, yeah. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow with another album review.